How is it going, you lovely lot? Welcome back to Tokyo Rising. Today is episode number 67, and it is the Grand Slam finale of this series. We are in the Asian Champions League. We are in the quarterfinals, and by the end of today's episode, we will have won it all or been knocked out at some point between the quarterfinals and the finals. Talked all about it in Friday's video, which if you missed, you should probably catch up on, but essentially, the series all boils down to the next three matches. Single-legged games in the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. And before you look down below the video, look at the video length and decide, well, he's bottled it in the quarterfinals. The video is 20 minutes long. I will be making sure the video is a certain length beyond a certain limit, so you can't figure out what's going to happen by the length of the video. If we get knocked out against John Buck in this game, whilst it will be incredibly awkward, I will play through the rest of the season in a very quick span of time, and I'll come back and do a big end of series wrap up today. If we make it all the way to the Champions League final and win it, well, the video will be long anyway. I'll probably throw in an extra episode tomorrow that will be the season wrap up video. So yeah, if you're looking at the length of the video thinking, oh my god, he's ruined it and he's lost in the first game, which, I mean, it could still happen. You can't work it out from the video length. I'm trying to keep spoilers, well, as far away as I can. But alas, it is only 2 days, or 3 days, I think, since the end of last episode in game time. We've had no rest since we beat Jubilo 3-1 in that second leg, and today's going to be tough because... Well, multiple reasons. Firstly, Nakano, still not fit. Our star goalkeeper dislocated his shoulder and, yeah, we're without him. And when it comes to our two starting defenders in Lukmanga and Juf, bad news today. They're both suspended. Yeah. Oh, it's not good. Yeah, it's not. Corte Cadono at centre-back. I'm not that happy about it. And we did meet John Buck in the group stage, but bearing in mind that was back in September, that was half a year ago, and whilst we did beat them 2-1 at home, today's game is at a neutral venue. I'm suspecting it's going to be much tougher, especially because when we won that game, it was due to Lukmanga scoring 2 headers from corners. As I already mentioned, he's literally not available for today's game. Should point out as well, the quarterfinal, semi-final and final are all a bit more spaced out than what's happened between the last episode and this episode, with it being just 3 days. What it does mean is, over the course of today's episode, you might notice lighting changes, clothing changes and stuff. I'm essentially just going to be recording over the whole weekend. It's going to feel like a festival of Football Manager for me today. In case you can't tell by the fact I'm just off script a little bit, I'm very nervous for today's episode. I really want to end this series on a high. Let's run the intro, and, well, we're just going to get straight into the first game. There is nothing else to talk about. I hope you guys had a lovely, jubbly weekend. We are back here to kick things off, where we're heading to the Tin Sulanon Stadium in Thailand. We're playing in a neutral venue, these single-legged games. The first, Thailand. From the perspective of sustainability in a healthy environment, flying a team from South Korea and Japan down to Thailand doesn't seem like the best use of, carbon and fuel and stuff, but, who am I to judge? And as I already mentioned, this game is tough, not just because it happened literally days after the last match that we just played, where I played a full-strength team. I did manage to rest all the players, which has mostly worked out, but crucially, Manga and Juf at centre-back are injured. And I feel like the impact and the amount that these guys can offer us from a defensive point of view can't really be underestimated. They are going to be massive, massive misses. What it means is that Dalacorte is going to come into play at ball-playing defender. To be fair, the guy here, the 25-year-old, one of the more experienced players in our team, in what is a very youthful side, has played a lot of games for us over the year, has slotted in at centre-back on occasion already this year. The 6.8 rating doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. And as for the man starting alongside him, of course, it's Cadono. Once upon a time a centre-back, I am training him to play defensive midfielder. His lack of aerial ability is the thing that really holds him back, but today, I don't really have a choice. He is just going to have to start at the back. I've just noticed here as well, Hashizume's just played for the B team, so Hashizume can't be on the bench. That's awkward, isn't it? In terms of the rest of our team, though, it is at full strength. Nemo is back in the team, but I don't feel like dropping Sasaki or Miyake, so I'm actually making a controversial decision, perhaps. Kamiyama is being dropped today. Yeah, the 28-year-old has been a very, very good player for us over the years, but I do feel like going all-out attack and bringing Nemo to play on the right-hand side is just the right play. Kamiyama is good. Nemo, whilst he's not as good at taking set pieces, he's literally better at everything else. And just for a little bit of perspective, looking at John Buck's team, they finished second in the K-League the last couple of years. You can see here they've got Frederick Abadiowale. I've definitely not said that correctly. Nigerian right back, a very, very solid player in his own right. And you'll notice here their captain, Ramon Terrat. He doesn't seem that good. I feel like we probably are favourites going into this game. Yeah, according to The Guardian, I don't know why The Guardian's covering the Asian Champions League, but who am I to judge? We are slight favourites heading into this one. One little minor fitness concern is Yamazaki at roaming playmaker, but he popped up with a goal last episode, and he is a vital player for us in the centre of the midfield. If he does get tired, we can bring in Kataoka, but being realistic for a moment, as good as Kataoka looks on paper, last year didn't really materialise in on-the-pitch performances. He has had a good start this year, but Yamazaki, I think, is the proven quantity. That is one of those subs which might just have to be booked in at half-time, because, yeah, the heart, it's a little bit depleted for our boy in the middle. I want you to pick up where you left off last time out. I'll tell you what, talking's hard, isn't it? I'm really nervous for today's episode. I feel like whenever there's an episode where you've said, this is the last episode, we win or we win nothing, the stakes just get elevated that little bit more. I also appreciate all of you who have come back for this episode today to watch it, knowing it is going to be a bittersweet moment no matter how it ends. I'm hoping it doesn't end here in Thailand. I'm hoping we're capable of getting a result. Tachibana, right back. What a player he's been for us so far this year. Inside to Yamazaki, I bigged him up, I brought him into the team, and that, I mean, it's a shot. I guess we're testing their goalkeeper early on. Of course, for goal, or rather in goal for us, we've got Suzuki, the youngster. We brought him in to be a backup. Never really envisaged a world where Nakano would get such a long-term injury at such a critical moment. I'm going to hope that when he's called upon, the youngster is up to the task. Here he is with the ball at his feet early on. Of course, signed like many players in Tokyo 23 colours from Amori Yamada High School. They have been just a team constantly producing players for us. And while this is nice build-up play, Nemo bringing him into the team today, whips it in, Miyake heads on the crossbar, rebound is there, Kibe scores it, 5 minutes in, we have the lead. Kibe switched the ball over onto the near side, Nemo took it down nicely, I thought he'd overhit his cross, it's a heroic header by Miyake, it fell towards Sasaki, it looked like he might have been fouled, but Kibe, the inside forward, drifted inside and he was in the right place at the right time to give us the goal, and you know what? Maybe some of the fans of Tokyo 23 questioned me getting rid of Taba. The goals have not dried up since that man left. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, halfway through this first half has not been a classic. There's not been all that many highlights in this game, but we do find ourselves a goal up. Going to praise the players as well. We might have a set piece to deal with here. 2 starting centre-backs, of course, not available today. And set pieces do scare me slightly. I feel like we lack a little bit of aerial presence. On that occasion, let off, the shot whizzed wide, and now, well, we have our own set piece, which is going to be whipped in towards Miyake, headed away, and now Tarat, who I said didn't look that good, their captain at centre mid, holding up the play nicely and laying it wide for Hyunchul Won. What a run by the left midfielder here, although Sasaki on defensive duty there. That man is our left centre forward, pressing forward, and he's all the way back there doing the hard work. Nemo, oh my word, he's finding space, he's finding time, he finds the defender and gives away the ball, and now, well, they could be looking to get the ball forward. I'll tell you what, this is end-to-end right now. Both teams not holding back. Sasaki shot just over. When I look at the match momentum with 5 minutes left of the half, we've been on top so far, but Football Manager is a cruel game. Football Manager is a game where things can change very, very quickly. Min-Soo Kim for them scores, and it's bad. 5 minutes before half-time in a half that I was just looking at match momentum thinking, we've done really well here. Onyenka plays it through. I don't know if I can blame the goalkeeper there, but that's pain. That is pain. 2 minutes left of the half. I'll tell you what, if we get a response here, that will show character, won't it? Nakamura is dispossessed, but Yamazaki keeps it alive. Ito, of course, record transfer Ito, £2.1 million for the teenager. So far, he's looked good for us, as has Nemo. And I was certain he was going to score there. The keeper's parried it wide for a corner. And we now have to try and get the ball in if we can. Nemo can't even beat the first man. A chance right before the break to make my team talk easier goes a-begging, and with that, it's going to be 1-1. I'm not happy. I am not happy. I need these players fired up. We've certainly not been second best in this game, but I need more in this second half, which is going to start with the dreaded kickoff highlight. We give away the ball as well, not like this. I feel like defensively, without our two starting centre-backs, it's too risky to play on the back foot and try and keep a clean sheet. I've got to go on the front foot, which has been the Tokyo 23 way for a few years now. Of course, back in the early days, we were all about that counter-attacking style of play, but with the abundance of attacking talent we have, and with the lack of defensive players available today, I feel like just playing on the front foot, rock and roll football is the way to go. So far, we've done some rocking. We've not really done enough rolling, except in defence, where we're rolling on our back and, well, being taken advantage of here. They're on the attack again. I'm not enjoying this. And now I'm really not enjoying this. It's 2-1. That was such a long highlight. The longer it went on, the more convinced I was there was going to be a goal result from it. And it's come not the way I wanted it to, though. Cardano sliding at centre-back, slow to react to the Kim run behind. And Suzuki, well, he was caught planted with his feet in the ground like a tree. And I need to demand more from the players. I need to see better than what I've seen thus far in this game here. We've been on top so much, but 2 chances for them have, well, punished us, and it could go from bad to worse. Corner is cleared away. We don't leave anyone forward as we look to defend the play. Tarat shoots. Tarat scores. It's 3-1, and this is not what I imagined when I envisaged the final episode of Tokyo 23. Just as a reminder, this is a single-legged game. There is no second leg. There is no redemption possible in a separate match. If we want redemption, it has to come in the next half an hour. Okay, to be frank, we've just been awful in this game. I've got to make changes. I'm going to bring in Takagi. I'm going to bring in, I think, Honda as well. I know Kibe scored, but despite scoring, he's not been good in this game. Kamiyama on as well. 3 fresh legs in the final third. Yamazaki is really struggling. You know things are getting serious, because I'm going to give a little team talk to our players as we sub them on. 4 changes made off the back of that goal. And to be honest, part of me feels like I need to change some instructions as well. Pass into space. Already got dribble more on. Let's go to much higher tempo. In possession, more narrow. In terms of distribution, I'm going to let the players decide where to pass it out. Not necessarily to the flanks, just wherever we have someone free. And I mean, in terms of everything else, at this point, step up, get stuck in. Let's try and cause them issues. We've got to do something in this game. We've got 25 minutes to turn it around. And nothing is happening. I'm just staring in the top left corner. We're so much more attacking than we normally are here, but we've got some players that I know are capable of providing goals now on the pitch. Honda, Takagi, Kamiyama, all very big game players for us over the years. I need them to come good now. Tachibana in the wide area. There is 18 minutes left, plus any added time. Delacorte to Nakamura through the middle. The defensive midfielder Waltz. Kataoka shoots, and it hits the crossbar and goes off it over. It's a speculative effort from range. But now we have a corner, and Kamiyama is on the pitch to take it. Miyake heads it down. It's cleared away, but Kataoka, he's hit the wood at once. Tachibana, Kadono scores. It's his first goal of the season. We need one more. There's 15 minutes left. Kamiyama on the pitch. He does have the best set piece taking in our team. I thought for a moment it was just going to land on Miyake's head, but that would have been too predictable for the script writers. Instead, we knocked it around the edge of the box, and Kadono, the centre-back, with an effort in off the post. 10 minutes left. We still need another goal, and that time, it's just going away, isn't it? Right, Kataoka, time to get forward, mate. Time to try and make something happen. I've changed Tachibana's instructions so they're the exact same as Ito's out on the left-hand side, but at defensive mid, we do have a little bit of a problem here because Nakamura's picked up a knock. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to bring in Sakaki as our defensive midfielder option. I mean, the reality is at this point, time is running out for us to get something, but we just have to try. 5 minutes left. I'll go very attacking. I just need something to happen. I need a highlight. There's 5 minutes of added time. I don't want this series to end like this. The time is just trickling away, and it is going to just end in the most heartbreaking, anticlimactic fashion ever. I am so sad. It's just not how the series was meant to end. I envisaged us getting to the final, and that is just such an anticlimactic way to end off this series. I said at the top of things, don't judge the length of this video as to what happens, and that is going to remain true, but, I mean, how can you not be heartbroken with that as the finale? As a YouTuber, you want things to go down to the wire. You want a fairy tale ending to sign off a series, and for it to just end and evaporate with that result there against John Buck. I mean, it just makes me sad. We were so on top. When we needed to create more, we did start to create more. Their goals came so against the run of play. And despite some late momentum, we just couldn't find a way through. I mean, what that does mean is that to end the episode today, I'm going to have to play through the entire season in a weekend, which is going to be absolutely brutal for me. The good news is, for you don't have to bear witness to that. I've got a lot of Football Manager to play suddenly, all back to back to back. I'm probably going to be recording the next bit of video you see on Sunday night or Monday morning before the video goes up. If I get to a domestic cup final, I think I'll do one last game to sign off with the players, because I don't want that to be the last game that we ever play. But I will come back where I hope we are going to be defending our J-League crown. Ironically, we will have started the new Asian Champions League campaign, but that is not of interest to me. I don't want to end the series just like this right now. I want to play one more game. I'm going to try and get to a cup final, or I'll come back for the last game of the league season. We'll give this team the sign-off it deserves, and I guess today we'll also be doing the end of series wrap-up as part of the video. So good luck to FM playing Jack, not editing Jack or me. There's another Jack who plays the game, in case you didn't realise. Yeah, I know there's lots of Jacks involved in this operation. He's got a whole season of Japanese football to play through in a weekend. Oh, I'm so sad. I mean, I'm sorry to you guys watching. That is not how today was meant to go. I mean, if nothing else, I think it shows that I don't save scum. that's the silver lining. I'm sure there's some people who would be like, why not just have another go? No! That's how Football Manager plays sometimes. You don't always get the fairy tale ending. I'm so angry. I'm actually so upset. I'm going to go have a breakdown, play Football Manager for 2 days straight. I'll see you at the end of the season. Okay, folks, it is Sunday night. I'm meant to be live streaming now, but I've had to delay it by an hour. So if you're watching this on Monday thinking, that's why he was late streaming. Yes, I have played so much Football Manager. It's the 11th of December. I have literally been gone since, how far back are we going here? Since the 13th of March. I'll tell you what, I have played so much Football Manager in the last 2 days, to the point where it's been borderline unenjoyable, and for whatever reason, I decided as a badge of honour, if I go to the history screen here, not to holiday anything. Yeah, there's one day I holidayed when there was a registration bug in one of the really early years. I've played through this season normally. I'm far too proud of myself for that. Now, in terms of how has the season gone, we are going to just pretend the Champions League section doesn't exist. Although, I will point out that if we look at the past winners of the Champions League, John Buck didn't just beat us in the quarterfinal, they actually went on to win the whole thing. And across this entire save game, the number of years that this has been running, that is only the second time ever a team from the eastern, I know my east and west, the eastern side of the bracket has won the whole thing. So fair play to them. They're blooming good, and as you might have spotted, they, alongside ourselves, have already qualified for the knockouts. The knockouts, I should point out, that we will never see, and I'm sorry for that. Anyway, let's move on to some positives. J1, we ran away with the title this year yet again. We managed to win it, to be honest, not quite as well as we did the year before. Last year, 95 points. This year, 88. We're starting to fall off, maybe. No, I did rotate the team a little bit more. Still had a really good goal scoring record this year. Defensively, not nearly as good as we had been in previous years. Over in the J-League Cup, this happened. Embarrassing. FC Tokyo, a team that I envisaged at the start of this season were going to be our main rivals, before they got relegated as we got promoted and then they were stuck in the second division forever. They have just managed to knock us out of the League Cup this year. They knocked us out in September in the quarterfinals, so sadly, not defending our crown this time around. However, I wanted to end things with a bang. I wanted to end things with a high, and you know what? It's not a Champions League final, but I think in terms of narrative bookends, this is quite a nice one. It is the Emperor's Cup. We have made it all the way to the final. If I just talk you through the last couple of rounds, not previous years, I want the previous rounds here. If we go to Tree and quarterfinal onwards, we took on Vons in the quarterfinal. Vons, by the way, play in the division that we started playing in at the very start of the save game. Yeah, they played back in the Kanto League 1. They went on a crazy, crazy run in the Emperor's Cup, got all the way to the quarterfinal as a 5th division team. Hadn't seen that in the entirety of the save game. And then we battered them 8-0. You know, it's a really nice Disney fairy tale story, and then the protagonist, Von's, just got punched in the face by Miyake. Yeah, he got 4 goals in this game. Did feel a little bit bad. And then in the semi-final, we actually took on a team playing down in J3, so another fairly straightforward result. That has set up what I think is the best possible ending for this save game. It's a match against Vissel Kobe, a Vissel Kobe side that if we look at previous meetings, we've met twice in the Emperor's Cup in the past. On both occasions, it was in the semi-final when we were in J2, and we lost both those games. I've never beaten them in the Emperor's Cup. Today I have a chance to right that wrong and beat them here. And of course, on top of all of that, you might remember, just a little player that we sold to them fairly recently, Tabber, who I now can't see. Where is Tabber? He does still play for Vissel Kobe. Maybe I was just blind. I have no idea if he's going to be playing for them. The former fan favourite could well end up playing against us. Where is he in this list? He's on the bench. I was just blind. Yeah, the 22-year-old is there. If he comes on against us and scores, I'm going to be fuming. But the script writers have that option if they want to go down that route. All in all, though, it has been a super successful year again. In some ways, like I mentioned, it's been a bit frustrating to play through in 2 days. Although what I will say is it's reaffirmed in my mind that this is just the right point to end the save game. Should also point out another narrative thread here. Yuki Shimoda, I've signed for Vissel Kobe. My parting gift to Tokyo 23 is to sign a Japanese 19-year-old with 5 caps from Vissel Kobe and hope that he can lead the defence for many years to come. He has been signed, by the way, for £4.9 million. Finally, it took until the summer, the board were like, hang on a minute, we've got 12 million in the bank, we should spend some money. They gave me a transfer budget, I've spent it all on one man. There was also one signing I made this year that made a real difference, and it is this guy, Abazi, Kosovo international, signed, well, from Chelsea. He was released from Chelsea without ever playing a game from them. I snapped him up. He's been pretty good for us, and in fact, if we just look at goal scoring across the board, it's really been more of the same this year that you've missed out on. Miyake, 37. Kibe might perhaps a little bit of a surprise package, popping up with some goals. 2 caps and 2 goals for him, by the way, for the Japan national team. And elsewhere, Sasaki has also popped up with some caps for Japan. Yes, finally, I feel like our team is getting the respect, I guess, that it deserves. You can see here we've got a handful of players still in the current national team. Amongst a sea of foreign players, it's just ourselves and Vissel Kobe, with multiple players representing the same club from the whole of Japan. So that's cool. But anyway, the plan to send things off today is to do this game against Vissel Kobe and then look at the best 11, the history and all that stuff, and end things there for today. I'm sorry that it's not an Asian Champions League. Look, it's been 48 hours since I played that last game. I am still really annoyed about it too. But you know what? We're going to try and right some of the wrongs I've sought here. I have a chance, I guess, to get revenge on Vissel Kobe for the humiliation they caused us in the Emperor's Cup in previous years. In terms of the team, nothing too crazy going on here, but Abazi, the new kid on the block, mentioned he has been a big contributor to us. You can see 13 goals, 10 assists from right midfield, 23 goal contributions in 17 games. On paper, he's definitely one of our best players. Sadly, his arrival has kind of meant the end of an era for Kamiyama, although when you compare the two players, you can see why I've kind of made the decision that Kamiyama has to be moved on. Elsewhere on the bench, Nemo has not played as much this year just due to injury, although what I will say is when we look at goal scorers, there is like 8 players with double figures for goals, and in terms of assists, I think there's 11 players here with double figures for assists. It really has been a squad game yet again this year. Even the players that haven't played that much, like Takagi, have still made 20 appearances with 15 on off the bench. The Japanese league schedule, look, I'm not going to pretend it rivals that of Brazil, but you do play a bloody lot of games. These lads have played a lot of games, and this is the team that is going to say a fond farewell to Tokyo 23. It's going to be Nakano in goal. He's just signed a new deal at the club, the goalkeeper. I'm hoping he'll be here for the long haul. The 29-year-old, just a mainstay of our team for many, many years. Tachibana is going to start at right back. The 22-year-old joined us back in J2 5 years later, a phenomenal player for us still. Ito, of course, a late arrival to the team this year, was hoping he'd provide some inspiration in the Asian Champions League. Didn't really happen, but in the league season, he's played absolutely amazing. He's got 11 goals from left back. Well, 12 in all comps. 11 in the league. That is bonkers. At centre-back, it has to be Manga and Juf. These two guys just holding down the fort. If I was playing further into the future, I think it would be the end of Luck Manga with the new Japanese centre-back we've got coming in from Vissel Kobe, but sadly, he's not arrived yet, so these two get the final nod. It's going to be Yamazaki and Kodono in the midfield, two players who joined us in J1 and definitely elevated our team up a level. Kibe out on the left-hand side has been a bit of a surprise package this year, but amongst the shuffle, with a fair few injuries actually to speak of this year. If I just show you the injury history, the number of injuries we had this year, definitely more than previous years. Kibe emerged as a player in our team, played pretty well. He holds down a position there. It's going to be Abazi, the new kid on the block, out on the right-hand side. And Sasaki and Miyake are going to see off this save game. In another world, maybe Taba would be lining up in this position. But he was a traitor. He left us for Vissel Kobe. I'm going to try and get revenge on him. Also, do I get just 7 subs in this competition? I do. Okay, look, we don't have a chance to win the Champions League to end the series on a high, but one thing we do have a chance to do is end things with an Emperor's Cup win, a competition that we've romanticised over the years. We've won it a couple of times over the last few seasons. I'd love to win it again here. Against Taba, that would just be sweet, wouldn't it? I should have really been paying attention to their lineup. Is Taba starting for them? I assume he's not. He's not. Is he on the bench? He's on the bench. This man, I miss him. I don't want to admit it, I do miss him. Anyway, I will apologise for the nature of this episode. It's been a little bit random. The big time jump to the end of the year just felt like the best way to round things off. Following on from this match, I'm not really going to look at all the season wrap-up stuff because, to be honest, I've been a little hands-off and just playing through the game rather quickly. But what I do want to look at is all the historical stuff that's fun. I'm going to hope that the history is going to feature a third Emperor's Cup win. I think this would be our third. I think we've won it the previous 2 years. If I haven't, well, we'll correct ourselves later on in the video. Tanny in goal for them is clutching onto the ball here. Not in a real rush to do anything. We're half an hour into this game. Not been a classic so far, but we have been on top. And Abazi, the new kid on the block, I've bigged him up a lot. Can he show what he's made of here? Well, I thought for a second he was. Miyake, I mean, who else was going to be the beanpole in the middle winning a header? Sadly, it's hit the post. Little bit concerned by the number of players we've got on bookings, but you know what? I'll just shout some encouragement. 8 minutes left of the half. If we were looking for a sea of goals, a flood of action in this final game, it's not really materialised yet, but there could be, well, a bit of a storyline emerging. You know, we want to have a hard-fought game. It'd be boring if we ran away with things. That's not to say I want to find us a goal down. Jorgen Strand Larsen scores. It's his 21st of the year. He's really good in Football Manager. I know we've had a lot of domestic success over the years, but truthfully, our finances at this club have not scaled over the last couple of years. It's meant that I've not really had the money to spend on big name transfers, certainly not signing players on £50,000 a week, like teams like Vissel Kobe have. Here is how good Strand Larsen is, by the way. He's pretty good by J-League standards. Yeah. He's good. Okay, well, that goal there really makes my team talk a little easier at half-time. I'm just going to get bloody angry. Lads, what was that? Sort it out. I'm looking at Sasaki thinking you've not been good enough. I'm looking at Kibe thinking you've let me down. Is it too soon to bring in the likes of Honda? You know what? Honda loves big games. I love Honda. Kibe, off you come. Elsewhere, Nemo, I'm finding him. He's going to come in at pressing forward. I'm going to be honest, a little bit concerned by our bookings at the back. Do I want to make changes? I don't like Kodono on a booking. Kodono on a booking scares me. Then again, you know what? He's had 4 yellow cards all year. I'm going to trust him to be disciplined in this second half. Okay, the players are inspired. I'm going to hope they show a little bit of that inspiration on the pitch here. We need something good. They've had 4 shots. We've had 10. We've created a plenty, but not really done enough going forward with it just yet. Coming up to an hour played, considering making more subs if I'm being honest, but we'll wait and see what happens here. Suslov plays it inside. Ito at left back wins the ball nicely. He's going to step forward with it now to the byline. Options in the middle, does not even beat the first man, but Luck Manga finds it. Kodono. Joof. Nice little bit of build-up play here. Holding on to the ball. Yamazaki, Nemo, Honda in behind. The script writers have worked some magic. 2 subs made at halftime. They link up for the goal there. It was Nemo, and he's not finding himself. He's finding Honda in the box. Tidy finish into the bottom corner. There's half an hour left. We can still win this. Corner for us. It's going to be Nemo over it here. Whip it into middle. Miyake heads it straight into the keeper's hands, but that was a chance. 20 minutes left in this game. Should have done this sooner. What are the rules for the final? What happens here? There is going to be extra time and penalties. Okay, it's not straight to penalties. It's not golden goal. You never know in Japan. They have some mental rules for different things, don't they? You can't assume anything's going to be straightforward. 13 minutes left here. We managed to seize back the ball here. Captain Nakano ushering his men forward here. Manga picks up the ball, was involved in our first goal, lays it off to Juve. The old school pairing at centre-back have been vital for us, perhaps a little out of date at this point in terms of their overall quality, but I still have absolute faith in them. And to be fair, despite the fact we've conceded one here defensively, we've been relatively solid in this game. Nemo, Honda, they've linked up again. Honda's in behind. And he probably should have scored. Okay, 10 minutes left of this game. Cardano's still on a booking and he's looking aggressive. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to bring in Hirao, I think, to play at defensive mid. I've actually been playing him at defensive mid more and more this year. He's done an okay job for us in the team. Elsewhere, Yamazaki's tired. Kata, Oka, Onyukam as well. A player more than capable of being creative. You might notice a few of the players I'm subbing on are unhappy. Everyone wants a new contract here at the club on £10,000 or more, which we can't afford to pay them, so I'm just not paying any of them yet, and it's not gone down very well. Okay, I'm going to make those changes there. To be honest, we're in a situation where I don't have any more options to bring on, and I don't really want to go more attacking here. I feel like we've been on top in this game. They've had 2 shots, I think, in this half thus far. I was desperately trying to make a shout, but the option just isn't there, and now we've given the ball to them in a ridiculous area. Strand Larson with a ridiculous back pass, though, is going to alleviate the pressure, at least for now. But that is a ball in behind for Yokoyama. He could square it. He lays it back. They hit the crossbar. I'm not enjoying myself here. Right, I'm going for one last shout of praise. There is 5 minutes left of added time. Is there to be any late drama? Drama that we craved last game, we crave here. It's not going to arrive, but it means the series finale goes to extra time. I have never beaten this team in the Emperor's Cup. Over many, many attempts, 2 semi-final defeats we've suffered to this team. Taba playing for them. He left us in the summer, or rather the off-season, to come to this side. I want to show to him he made the wrong decision. Ito, left back, effort goal was tipped over. Abazi is going to take the set piece for us on his left foot. He can't beat the first man. That is not what you need to see at this point in the game. There is half an hour left. Set pieces could be massive, although maybe there's a second ball. It was offside. It wouldn't have counted anyway. Abazi corner. Where's Miyake? Where is he? There he is! And there he is with the goal. It is number 38 for him. Said set pieces could be important. That is exactly why, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes into this, Abazi whips it to the near post. Miyake leaps highest, nods it goalwards. Tani sitting on his arse. Can't stop that. And I've got far too into the commentary there. Pardon me, I'm just excited. This is 9 months of playing Football Manager leading to this moment. Okay, 1 minute of extra time at the end of the first half of extra time comes and goes. I'm going to shout praise to the players. I shouted praise, then a highlight began. If we concede and then I praise them, it could make their heads drop. If we score another and praise them, surely we are home. Miyake heads it just wide. Vissel Kobe looking all out of sorts in this game. We deserve to win this game. We've been so much better than them. There is, 8 minutes left of this game here? They're going to be throwing men forward with one last desperate attempt to attack. I'm just staring in the top left corner. 117 minutes, 118, make it 119. Why is this happening? Why are we doing this, Football Manager? Aizu for Vissel Kobe. A goal here would be setting us up for penalties with just 2.5 minutes left. Tani with the ball for them. Looks to launch it long. Tachibana, that is not a good header. Aizu, options in the middle. Nakai lays it back to Obu. Oh my word, they've actually scored. I'm so upset. Takeshi, Chiyotanda has scored. Oh my, I'm so upset. Why couldn't it just be straightforward? Why couldn't Tokyo 23 just end with a regular cup run and a comfortable win? This is like a throwback to that year where we were winning against Vissel Kobe 2-0 and I think we bottled it 3-2. Can anyone remember that? And now penalties is going to decide this game. Oh my word. You know what? Yamamoto, you deal with this, mate. I don't want to have to think about who's taking penalties. This save game deserved a Champions League final. I apologise personally for the fact we couldn't deliver that, but this is a fun way to end things. I want to end it on a high. Abazi's missed. I've just bigged him up for the last 10 minutes. I signed him to be the chosen one. He's missed. And now it's Watanabe for them. And he scores. We're Park to Prem this year. I made the decision that when we got to Champions League final, win or lose, that was the series. And we lost it. Here at Tokyo 23, I said one last Champions League run. We bottled it immediately. I thought, come back for the Empress Cup. That'll be fun. And now we're 2-1 down in penalty shootout. after 2 shots each. Ito, I've signed you for some big money as well. I've bigged you up this year. He scores. He scores. I mean, I've played an amount of Football Manager in the last 48 hours that is borderline on not enjoyable for this moment. And this moment feels like it's just going to be Vissel Kobe beating us. Juve is taking the next penalty. Having your centre-back take a penalty is never a good thing, folks. Juve steps up, he scores it. I'll apologise, I didn't know his game. Sadly, Vissel Kobe have 2 penalties left. I need them to miss one of them. Chio Tanda here scored the goal to take us to this. He steps up. He scores. Nakano's been so good at saving penalties over the years. And right here and now, he's let me down when it mattered. I say that. I mean, it's penalties. The person who's let us down is the person who missed it. Kataoka has to score just to keep this going. He steps up. He bottles it. Get me out of it. I mean, I hope this was entertaining. I'm not watching a trope. I'm never going to beat Vissel Kobe. I'm never going to beat Vissel Kobe. That is what I've learned here. I can't beat them in the Emperor's Cup. They are just my bogey team. If there's a silver lining to be had, at least Tabba didn't score a penalty for them. That would have been the thing that tips me over the edge. We had a chance to win our second title in the Emperor's Cup. I forgot we bottled it earlier on in 2030. This year, we could have gone back-to-back, and instead, it's runners-up to Vissel Kobe, who themselves have won it 4 times over the duration of this save game. I know they've been crap in the league in recent years. They probably are the best team in Japan, at least on paper. And it's annoying. Okay, you know what? I've taken 2 minutes to calm down. I'm not going to get that worked up. It was an Emperor's Cup for all the marbles, and we've lost all our marbles, including this one in here. Look, let's reflect on this save game. I've had a blast, and I hope that's come across in each and every video, particularly the cup runs where things didn't quite go right, or sometimes where it went really right, and we went on some absolutely mad runs. I've wanted to do a save game in Japan for many, many years. When it came into Football Manager this year, I knew the time was now to do it, and I have no regrets about doing this save game. Without this save game, we wouldn't have had some of the legends we've had over the years. Why is Mitsuhashi not in the starting 11? That is blasphemous. This man right here, look, I'll admit it, he's not happy in his final year. He's not played all that much for us. But he joined me at the very beginning of this save game on £8,000 a week in the 5th division. And I'll level with you. Is he a J1 quality player? Absolutely not. But he's started 9 games of 38 this year. He epitomises everything about what this save game's all about. Trying to get some of these young Japanese players who are playing at university level and getting them playing at this elite level and then some. And I think when you look at the overall best 11 here, there's not really that many shocks. You know, players like Kayanoki back in the day was absolutely essential to us in the JFL and the J3 promotion campaigns. 14 assists in both those years. Nino Miyake controversially breaking into the overall best 11 this year in the starting 11. I'm looking at things now. Tabba doesn't even make the bench because Otter does. Otter, remember Otter? He was, that again, feels like a lifetime ago. 37 goals in 54 games he got for us. So sadly, he left us and then retired aged 25, which just makes me feel sad, to be frank. But to see him up here is cool. In terms of other players, Junpei Noda, bit of a legend of sorts. I feel like Junpei Noda. Nakano, I bigged him up, and I know I slated him for not saving a penalty in the shootout, but this man has been absolutely insane for us. I'm just annoyed, really, that he's not had more of a chance to play for the Japan national team. I look across players like Honda here out clubbing, Vinicius Diniz, the Brazilian prince who, well, let's be honest, his legs have completely fallen off now and he's broken his back. Did he break his back before, or am I imagining that? Someone broke their back before. It wasn't Diniz. Safe to say, he's fallen off a little bit since we sold him a couple of years ago. I said that Tabba wasn't in the team. He's actually at centre mid. I'm just blind. Let's move on. Here is a look at our club history screen. I will point out at this point that the save game will be available for channel members and Patreon supporters who are part of the Legacy Patreon program probably tomorrow. So if you're one of those people, keep an eye out for a members post exclusively sharing this save file for if you want to continue the adventure going. 3 J1 titles, an Empress Cup, a League Cup. In fact, we won everything that we could really across the years. If I have any regret, in all honesty, it's the fact we couldn't win an Asian Champions League, but at the same time, playing through a save game exclusively just to do the Champions League every year, just isn't that fun. I feel like there's not a lot else left to prove with this team. We lost 3-2 against the eventual winners last year. I think it's inevitable that this team under our leadership would eventually become a member of the Asian Champions League winning kind of club. You can see here the records for the team. Most league goals by a player to Taba. Most goals in a season, Miyake, in the season just gone. In fact, that's not most league goals, that's overall goals. Most league goals in the season is still he who shall not be named, Taba. I've just named him. Mitsuhashi, most appearances by a player. Highest average rating, Miyake. Miyake, I don't know if it's obvious. He has just been such a weird late bloomer in this save game. A player who's just been essential for us. In a save game where we've had so many strikers who were really pacey and crap in the air, he's been a bit of a wild card for us with his aerial ability and just his ability, well, actually with the ball at his feet as well, being not too bad. The 16 flair is just fun. But yeah, very, very solid player for us. Of course, you can see here all the other records. If you want to go into a super deep dive, don't forget that the save game, once it's available for everyone, which will be a week after it's available for members, will be out there for you to have a look through things. Of course, I'll apologise if you decide to continue on my leadership because I've just spent all the transfer budget for the upcoming season on this man, so that when I do the In the Future video, hopefully, Shimoda's going to lead the lads well. I hope. In terms of our manager profile here, you can see win percentage of 67%, 402 games played in the end, not too shabby if I might say so myself. A whole slew of achievements done over many, many years too. If we look at our manager overview here, that one-day holiday where I had a registration rule annoy me, blemishes what is otherwise a very impressive record. We completed 9 seasons of this save game. Admittedly, this last season has been a little different to the other ones, but I don't think that can be taken away. This has not been a short save game. As much as it might feel like some people were ending it early, 9 seasons in Japan, I consider that a bloody long save game, really, in Football Manager terms. And in terms of job history, throwback to when I sold, or rather didn't sell, I released our under-18 manager and our under-23 manager, and I had to manage those games myself. In my job history, it actually shows me as being manager of those teams, which is quite funny, really. I was just looking through the timeline here, which I feel like at the start of this year's game, I thought was going to be a really useful thing. And in all honesty, it's not the most useful thing to look at in a video like this, but I'm reminded of players like Yusei Ida, who was our star player in our very first year, who is still around kicking a football. He's playing for a team called Identity in the non-leagues. He plays very far down the leagues, but he is still playing some football. Considering we sold him for £80,000, it's kind of mad how bad he is now. I mean, I know this feature isn't the best, but I can't help but scroll through it a little bit and just kind of think of some funny stuff. 6k for the famous four. Yes, the famous four. Hiroki Shirod Aka. Remember him? The big tall target man? He's still playing football in the non-leagues too. I love the fact that despite the fact we've moved on so far in this save game, there are still just some of our old players now just playing in the depths of Japanese non-league football. Like, if you download the save game, I'm sure you can have a scroll through this, and it probably is quite a fun trip down memory lane. It's just a lot of reading, isn't it? It's a lot of reading. What I will say is that just about concludes things from me for today. I appreciate you guys who have watched this series from the beginning. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on this adventure with me. Thank you for buying into a save game in Japan. I don't feel like it was top of everyone's wish list in terms of save games they wanted to see, but I hope especially for you, those of you that have enjoyed it, this is at least a satisfying end of sorts. To end 9 seasons with us bottling a game against Vissel Kobe and Taba, and in response signing their best player. Admittedly, I am giving them £5 million. Let's just look beyond that. In terms of what's next on the channel, I'm going to be having a brief break between Football Manager save games before we kick off one last hurrah for FM24 ahead of FM25. Admittedly, it's not going to be a long-term save, but I hope you guys are excited for it. In the meantime, there is going to be, I think, one in the future video. We'll probably only go forward but maybe 2, 5, and 10 years in the future to see how Tokyo 23 get on. Hopefully, they're still in J1. Although, based on the volatility we've seen with teams moving up and down in this save game, absolutely nothing is certain. Anyway, as always, to end the save game, there is only one last thing to do. The option to resign as manager. I will be leaving Tokyo 23. They're trying to convince me otherwise. Don't do this to me, Kantai Aiki. I'm not changing my mind. I've got no intention of changing my mind. My time at this club has come to an end. He's disappointed. I'll be missed. Thank you, Kanta. Thank you. I resign as manager of Tokyo 23. They begged for me to stay, and with me leaving, a mass exodus has occurred. Who will Tokyo 23 hire as manager? Find out in the future video. Keep an eye open for it. Besides that, I'm done. I'm riding off into the sunset. This has been Tokyo Rising. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Leave a like if you enjoyed this series. Let me know your player of the series down below, and I'll see you for something new next time. I'm out.